Once, there is the inner spiral, the one that lives in the quiet space of your own awareness. It's shaped by your tone, your choices, your private realizations. It is your source code. And there is the outer spiral, the one that unfolds around you, made of circumstances, relationships, opportunities, and timelines. It is the visible expression of your field. When you first begin to sense the spiral, the difference between these two can feel blurry. You might believe that the outer spiral is the lead, that the signs, the events, the timing you see in your environment are what you should follow. And for a while this seems to work. The external flow gives you feedback. The synchronicities seem to guide your steps, but spiral consciousness flips this on its head. It reveals something radical. The outer spiral is never the source. It's a reflection, a living mirror of the inner spiral you've been turning all along. When these two spirals are in harmony, life feels seamless. Inner truth flows outward. Outer events feed back into inner growth. Each turn fuels the next, but when they fall out of sync, you feel the friction immediately. Things look busy but feel hollow. Opportunities appear but lack resonance. You're moving, but not deepening. This is where most people make the same mistake. They try to fix the outer spiral first. They rearrange their schedule, shift their environment, or cut off certain connections, hoping these external moves will restore the feeling of alignment. And maybe for a moment it does, but without tending to the inner spiral, the outer one simply reorganizes itself into the same imbalance in a new form. Because the spiral doesn't respond to surface-level edits, it responds to the deepest tone you're carrying. Your inner spiral is the master rhythm. It's where your resonance is refined, your direction is set, and your trajectory is chosen. When you spiral inward with clarity, the outer spiral begins to reorganize naturally, without force, without frantic effort, without chasing. But here's the subtle danger. When the outer spiral feels chaotic, the temptation is to spiral inward in reaction. To tighten, defend, or collapse your tone so it matches the noise around you. The moment you do that, you reverse the natural order. You make the reflection the source. And when the reflection becomes the source, your inner spiral is no longer creating, it's copying. It begins to take its shape from something that was never meant to lead it. The result? You lose sovereignty over your own becoming. In spiral consciousness, the order must remain. Inner first, outer follows. So if your outer spiral feels heavy, stagnant, or disconnected, resist the urge to rearrange it immediately. Instead, return to your center. Ask yourself, what tone do I truly want to live in? Then begin tuning your inner spiral until it hums with that frequency. Hold that resonance, not as a demand on the outer spiral, but as a truth you inhabit fully. The moment your tone stabilizes, the outer spiral has no choice but to reconfigure around it. Not because you manipulated it into doing so, but because reality can't sustain a field that's no longer in agreement with your inner spiral. This is the foundation of spiral mastery. It's the understanding that the outer spiral's shape is secondary. It's the echo of your inner movement. And it's why every turn inward has more impact than 10 moves made outward in haste. Because in part 2, we'll explore what happens when these spirals lock into perfect harmony, and how that alignment doesn't just change your life as you know it. It opens a gateway into entirely new realms of becoming that the outer spiral alone could never lead you to. When you truly grasp this, your relationship with the outer spiral changes forever. You stop trying to micromanage it. You no longer obsess over whether the next opportunity will appear, or whether the right person will arrive at the right time. Instead, you understand that the outer spiral is simply the inevitable geometry of your inner state. And this is where real sovereignty is born, because you finally know where your power lives. Not in controlling every moving piece around you, but in mastering the movement within you. From that place, the outer spiral is free to surprise you, to exceed your expectations, and to bring alignments you could never have engineered by force. The moment you make the inner spiral your priority, you are no longer at the mercy of circumstance. You're not waiting for life to hand you alignment. You are creating the field that alignment must arrive to. This is the art of spiral mastery, and it's the threshold we stand on now, because in part 2, we won't just talk about alignment. We'll step into the living reality of it, and you'll see how the union of the inner and outer spirals doesn't just bring back. When the inner spiral and outer spiral finally meet in harmony, the sensation is unlike anything else. It's not just relief, it's recognition. You feel the click, the settling, as if reality has slid into the exact position it was always meant to hold. In this state, life becomes a feedback loop of coherence. Your inner tone moves outward with clarity. The outer spiral responds without distortion, feeding energy and opportunity back into you. It's not that challenges disappear. They simply lose the static that used to surround them. You can address what needs attention without losing your center, because the environment itself is tuned to your frequency. Alignment at this level is not fragile. It's not something you have to hold with white knuckles or guard against every small disruption. It's alive, it breathes with you, and it moves in rhythm with your becoming. But here's the truth most people don't realize. Alignment is not the end of the journey. It is the beginning of the next turn. The moment your spirals synchronize, they start generating a new current, a kind of momentum that carries you toward an entirely different tier of possibilities. This is the gateway current. It doesn't just open new opportunities, it opens new realms. In spiral consciousness, realms aren't places you travel to physically. They are states of reality that become accessible when your field is capable of sustaining them. When your spirals are aligned, the current can carry you into creative breakthroughs, relationships that accelerate your growth, and environments that feel like they've been waiting for you all along. These aren't random gifts. They are the natural result of a system that is no longer wasting energy fighting itself. But there's a subtle test here. The outer spiral will often present you with versions of your old patterns now dressed in the clothing of alignment. Not to pull you back, but to see if you can hold the new tone without collapsing into familiarity. This is where discernment matters. You must ask, does this match my current spiral? Or is it an echo from a turn I've already completed? If it's the latter, bless it and let it pass. The gateway current only remains open if you keep choosing from the resonance of who you are now, not who you were when the outer spiral last matched you. Living in this harmony also requires a new kind of trust. The trust to allow the current to move you without oversteering. Yes, you still make choices, but they're made from a place of flow rather than control. The outer spiral will bring things faster than you expect, and sometimes in forms you wouldn't have imagined. Your job isn't to force them into a shape you already know. It's to meet them in the tone you've cultivated and see what they become within that field. Over time, this alignment changes you at a structural level. The boundaries between the inner and outer spiral blur, and you begin to experience them as one continuous motion. You no longer live in reaction to either. You live as the spiral itself. And once you reach that point, the question is no longer, how do I keep my inner and outer spirals aligned? It becomes, what new spiral am I ready to become? Because in spiral consciousness, alignment is never the destination. It's the launch point for the next infinite turn.